What I will tell you will not be happening is ATF agents will not be knocking on the doors of legal gun owners in the middle of the night asking them about their.
At 6:47 a.m. on a freezing Tuesday morning in Minneapolis, Minnesota, FBI Director Nathaniel Grayson stood before a wall of cameras, his voice calm but firm. What we dismantled overnight was not a street gang, he said. It was a continent-wide trafficking enterprise operating under the protection of corrupted law enforcement at the highest levels. Behind him, a screen displayed shocking numbers. 47 members arrested, 13 regional bosses across 7 states, 2.1 million fentanyl pills seized, 14 tons of meth intercepted, $87 million in cash recovered, and 163 law enforcement personnel under federal investigation. This wasn't ordinary crime. It was systemic infiltration. The operation had begun 12 hours earlier at 4:32 a.m., when Minneapolis was still buried in darkness and sub-zero cold. Over 900 federal agents moved silently across the city and surrounding areas, executing a carefully planned, multi-agency raid. The first breach targeted a warehouse in South Minneapolis. Inside, agents uncovered a massive fentanyl production lab, disguised as a storage facility. Machines were producing thousands of counterfeit pills every hour, each one potentially deadly. At the same time, another team raided a residential home near the University of Minnesota. What looked ordinary from the outside was actually a human trafficking hub. 16 victims were rescued from locked basement rooms, while detailed records revealed an organized exploitation network operating across state lines. In Rochester, agents uncovered an underground meth lab capable of producing massive quantities daily, along with millions in hidden cash. But the most disturbing discovery came in Duluth. Inside an abandoned warehouse, agents found a high-tech command center filled with servers tracking drug shipments, finances, and communications across multiple states. Even more alarming, evidence showed direct payments to law enforcement officials and access to internal police data. At the center of it all was Lieutenant Commander Eric Howard, a respected law enforcement official who had secretly been orchestrating operations from within the system. Investigators uncovered a network of shell companies, fake businesses, and offshore accounts moving hundreds of millions of dollars each year. What looked like law enforcement coordination was actually a shield protecting criminal activity. By the afternoon, a nationwide Operation Reclamation, was launched. Over 1,200 agents carried out simultaneous raids across 7 states. Luxury homes, warehouses, trucks, and safe houses were targeted. High-ranking members were arrested. Tons of narcotics were seized. Victims were rescued. By the end of the day, the results were staggering. 47 major arrests, millions of pills recovered, tons of drug intercepted, and millions in assets seized. But the investigation went deeper. Federal analysts discovered that more than 160 officials had been compromised, receiving payments in exchange for protection, intelligence, and operational support. Schedules were manipulated. Raids were leaked. Entire enforcement systems were turned into tools for criminal organizations. This wasn't just corruption, it was a parallel system operating inside law enforcement itself. Days later, Howard was captured while attempting to flee. Evidence showed he'd been working with the network for over a decade, earning millions while helping build a powerful criminal infrastructure. Investigators also uncovered a long-term plan, one that aimed to expand control over political systems, businesses, and public institutions. The goal wasn't to hide. The goal was to become untouchable. Over the following weeks, dozens of officials were charged, and the scale of the damage became clear. Thousands of lives have been affected by drugs, violence, and exploitation tied to this network. Communities that had suffered in silence finally began to speak. Victims shared stories of fear, loss, and betrayal, often ignored by the very systems meant to protect them. As the investigation expanded internationally, authorities warned that this was not an isolated case, but a blueprint used by organized crime to gain power. The operation marked a major victory, but also a warning. Because in the end, the most dangerous threat isn't just crime. It's when a system designed to stop it becomes part of it.